A company claiming they have the best IEM under $1,000, but trying to pay reviewers $1,000 to cover it. In front of me, there's 3 IEMs and 1 story. Let's get into it. If you've been in audio for a while, or even if you're new, you've probably heard of the brand KZ. This is their new IEM, the Krilla. I like to cover some budget IEMs from time to time, but normally this one wouldn't have ended up on my desk. But KZ emailed me saying they wanted to pay me $1,000 to review their IEM. I don't know about you, but I think that paid reviews are pretty scummy. Not only that, it's kind of against YouTube's terms of service. So after telling them to go shove it where the sun doesn't shine and putting them on blast on Twitter for trying to pay reviewers to do reviews of their product, they responded telling me again that I should review their IEM, that they want to give me $1,000, and if not give me $1,000, to give my community $1,000, because it must be the best thing under $1,000. So I decided to buy it with my own money, bring it in here, and give you guys the honest truth. Is the KZ Krilla the best IEM under $1,000? Well, I definitely have a lot to say about that. There's 2 other IEMs on this table, Chronicles Project Red and the Moondrop Aria. And it's not just because these are some of the best received IEMs I've seen in a long time. The Moondrop Aria is fantastic in terms of build, timbre, sound quality, just across the board, it's a really good in-ear. Chronicles Project Red is even more affordable, and it sets a benchmark for tuning in IEMs, but also for things like timbre in a budget range. I do find the Moondrop Aria to be a little more comfortable though. The Krilla, well, it's pretty dang cheap at $17, ballpark US on AliExpress, and its unique party trick is that it has these dip switches on the back that can change the tuning, either raise the bass or reduce the treble. I'm not going to spend an extremely long time going in depth on every facet of this thing's sound because, truth be told, it's pretty unexceptional. Now this is better than some of the things KZ has released in the past, but to claim that it's the best under $1,000 is not only silly, it's outright laughable. It's not even the best thing under $50. I want to go into objective sound first and then talk about the subjective on this because there's some areas where this just doesn't overlap. Now, here's the Krilla on 2 extremes of its potential settings. You can raise or lower that bass shelf a little bit, and you can raise and lower the treble a little bit, but these are the 2 far extremes. You'll notice that in the treble, it's pretty similar to things like Project Red, though the treble does shift around and there's peaks in different areas. And you'll notice that in its more intense variation, it's close to the Moondrop Aria, at least in the low frequencies. But it doesn't sound as good in any facet as either of these other 2 IEMs. In fact, no matter how much bass I give it, no matter how much treble I take away, the mid-range always seems thin. It always seems sibilant, it always seems shouty, and it always seems harsh. Which is really interesting. You would think as you give it more bass and less treble that it would start to level out, but it never really escapes from this harsh sound. It's not detailed, it's not really engulfing, and it doesn't have good timbre. Yet somehow the mid-range ends up still being thin and muddy at the same time. I mean, you would think that if this is muddy that the Moondrop Aria would be too, but the Aria ends up sounding full and rich instead. I guess it goes to show that there's more to an IEM than its frequency response, and that KZ, well, they must have known they missed the mark, and when they did, they turned to trying to pay reviewers to make this thing look better than it actually is. If anything, this is also a rant. I think it's ridiculous that companies think they can get away with doing it. I think it's ridiculous there's enough creators out there who will take a paycheck to actually let this slide. This is why tech YouTube has so many trust issues. This is why people don't trust a lot of reviewers when they cover a lot of products at the same time or when people use affiliate links. Often reviewers cover a lot of things at the same time just because of embargo dates. And there's reviewers I know who use affiliate links who I don't think are morally compromised. But KZ decided not only to push the moral envelope, but to straight up tear it open. It really just pisses me off. So here is my message to KZ. Do better. You're getting close on frequency response, but you're throwing things like timbre and build quality out the door. If you want, you can blame your slip up on a marketing agency, but either way, don't try and pay people for reviews. If your product is good, people will say it's good. Your reputation in the audio community has already been on thin ice and you're doing everything you can, it seems, to try and make it worse. People should not buy the Krilla, and realistically, they shouldn't buy KZ either. Despite that, I will say that at $17, it is a pretty good IEM. To make the claims that is anywhere near $1,000 in value is absurd. You are much better suited buying the Project Red or the Moondrop Aria if your budget is anywhere under $100. There's a whole bunch of other great options too. The Moondrop Chew is pretty good. That's actually similar in price to the Krilla. The JBL Endurance Run. I mean, that thing has its faults also. It's got some weird peaks in the treble, but it still sounds pretty good overall, and it's built better than Krilla is. With how big this community has, we have a voice, and we have the power to make things like this not happen. And with this voice we collectively have, make it be known. Companies, if you're trying to pay off reviewers for reviews, you're gonna get what's coming to you. At some point, a creator is going to notice who does not stand for that, and your product is going to be exposed for what it really is. A lie. I'm gonna get off my high horse here and wrap up this video. I wanna stop and throw this in. This is how I make money as a creator. On the DMS channel, I make money by selling shirts, merch, hoodies, so that I can tell companies like KZ who want to pay a reviewer to go shove it. So if you want to support the channel, you can check out these at dmstech.store. I greatly appreciate those of you who do. Anyway, that's going to wrap up this video, guys. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. Comment letting me know what you want to see in the future. If you want to get active in the community, you can at the Discord or forum, both available at the link in the video description. As always, don't forget to stick around and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Until next one, guys. Peace.